Peace, peace, peace. We're gonna get it popping in a few minutes. Let the room fill up a little bit. All right, we're gonna begin tonight discussion, the Holy Bible, or just sheer Babel. All right, and of course, we broke it up into the acronym, basic instructions before leaving Earth. Life is a test. You know what I mean? So, that information tonight, we're gonna come back with the third part. Actually, I think it's the fourth part actually of the extraterrestrial. My computer, whatever happened, my whole slide presentation disappeared. I guess putting out too much information, whatever the case is, but it's gone. All right, so I got to redo it, and we're gonna get that to you still. Matter of fact, this one's gonna be even better than the last one. You know what I'm saying? Because they can't stop. You know, they can't stop. You know what I'm saying? Can't stop. Won't stop. You know what I'm saying? Old school. That's Puffy, yo. You know, before he became the P Diddy. All right, so we're gonna get into the night's topic: the Holy Bible, or just sheer B.I.B.L.E, or BABEL. All right, so just hang in here with us as we get this information flowing. You know how we do. I'm going to take you through a slide presentation because you're going to have your information on deck, you know. And, you know, the thing is to make sure that, you know, you get this information out to the people. In fact, I advise you to tell them to come on and check us out. You know, website, www.dralimel-bey.com, Instagram, YouTube, all right, Black Planet, MySpace, Facebook, you know what I'm saying? Even the old joints be on, all right? So, you know, just check us out. You know, if you need to email me, then royalhouse777@gmail.com. Right? This is with sincere questions, not the ignorance, not the trolling. All right, we know how the trolls do. You know, they have one or two people on their channel that subscribe, and they can't even entertain them. All right, they can't even entertain the one or two that they have, so they have to come on yours. You know what I'm saying? Because they see that you have a larger following, and then get at you and try to make you look like you crazy. But the thing is that you're the one trying to make someone feel bad. You're the one that's, you know, taking your frustrations and your jealousy and envy out, you know, on someone else, you know, because you can't do what you're supposed to be doing for yourself and for your people. You know what I'm saying? Everybody don't have the ability in order to teach. You know what I'm saying? So let those who can teach, teach. Those that can't, fall to the wayside, get out the way. You know what I mean? Because this information has to get out to the people. There's not enough, you know, information I'm seeing from here on YouTube, for real. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing a lot of copycats, a lot of people taking information and not giving back credit. That's what I'm seeing. You know what I'm saying? And acting like, you know, they produced it and blowing up, you know, and got you as YouTube followers and watching them. You know what I'm saying? That's the crazy thing about it, is that people haven't learned how to decipher between superstition and actual facts, or true spirituality and the con man. People haven't learned that science yet. For whatever reason, I don't know. I mean, I done seen over the last just damn 10 years, and I've been doing this shit for 30 years, but over the last 10 years, I've seen so many con men come and go. And shit, some of y'all still following. That's what gets me. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, we've been doing this for 30 years. you know, teaching, getting the information out, you know, former student of Dr. Malachi York, Minister Farrakhan, foundation was Nation of Gods and Earth, even studied with Yahweh Ben Yahweh and Ben Ami Israel, you know. My teacher, Prince Ramesses Abel Bey, who became Crown Prince Hutan Tupac Bey of the Empire Washington Didacta Manya, taught me Qigong, a little bit of Tai Chi, mental or psychic healing, along with pranic healing, all right? And some other magical occult sciences, all right? His teachers are, you know what I'm saying, Tatas and etc., you know, was actually Tupac's aunt and uncle who trained him in the Yoruba traditions, all right? And also Brother Tata, who taught both of us some of the information which was from the Yoruba traditions, as well as also the Congo Rite, which in particular is the Palomayombe. All right, so we studied these particular schools, sat with these brothers and sisters of these various schools, you know, so we just didn't pop up yesterday, got a YouTube account and say, hey, let's get, you know, the one book that I've read, let's get that one book out, you know, let me do a whole video on that one book, you know. Brother just told me today that somebody did like a whole little video on just an excerpt from one of my books, First World Water. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad they're getting the information out. You know what I'm saying? But once again, the thing is, learn how to give credit back to where credit is due. You know, every time you hear me, I tell you the books that I get the information from. I tell you the people that I get the information from. I'm not trying to make you follow me. I'm not trying to make you think that I have all the knowledge. You know, I'm telling you the books. This is research. This is study. You know what I'm saying? If you come to another conclusion, that's beautiful. Do a video and tell me about it, and I can watch it. Email me. You know what I'm saying? You find a good enough conclusion that's even better than the hypothesis or the theory or either the facts, you know what I'm saying, which that I've presented. Beautiful. That's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? The whole point is get this shit popping. You know what I'm saying? Get the information out there to the people. You know, I mean, real information in which that is practical, you know, that they can, as Pastor Ray Hagan would say, deactivate the Willie Lynch chip. You know, I definitely agree with that. The activation of Willie Lynch chip, as well as also, you know, Bobby E. Wright's menticize. He's the one who coined that particular terminology is menticize. So you definitely want to go beyond menticize, because we see that is exactly what's, you know, menticide is the same as genocide, except it happens mentally. So you're killing yourself with all this detrimental information. All right, so let's get it popping with the information here tonight. Slide presentation. All right, the Holy Bible, or just your Babel. All right, and of course, Bible is broken down basic instructions before leaving Earth. All right, something in which that we used to say back in the days, in which that Killer Priest took to the next level and actually did a whole song on it. If you don't know about it, that's old school. Go and get that joint, YouTube it, whatever you need to do, did it. All right. So, Dr. Albert Churchward, in his book, The Origin of and the Evolution of the Religion, he held that the African Pygmies, the Twa people, the Tahites, all right, the Anu people, and the Nubians, right? This is the Nile or neglect or Nilotic Negroes, the Nubians, right? And even the Nubians don't necessarily like the term Nubian, all right? Tassetians or Tanessians is even a better term. Tanessians or Cushites, now known as Abyssinians or Ethiopians, were the real originators of religion. They were the real originators of religion. So all the major world religions come from Africa, come from African people, right? That's just what it is. The late Count Siavani, in his book, The Ruins of Empires, writes, all religions originated in Africa. The Ethiopians conceived themselves, said Diodorus, a Greek historian, to be of greater iniquity than any other nation. They supposed themselves also to be the inventors of divine worship, of festivals and solemn assemblies, of sacrifices and every other religious practices. Now that's deep because everything that we just made mention of is found in every single world religion and minor religion. The inventors of divine worship, of festivals, of solemn assemblies, of sacrifices, and of every other religious practices. That is in every single minor and major religion. The late Dr. Bress, famous Egyptologist, maintained that the Ethiopians were the first to give religious thought and aspiration to the world. And if you get stuck on the land mass or continent, let's not. Let's talk about this in the sense of that we talk about the people. All right, melanated, dark-hued, complected people. All right, is who brought these sciences to the world. Even the term Allah within Arabic, Allah or Elah within, and Elo within Hebrew and Aramaic, right? Known as Semitic languages, goes back to the ancient Egyptian, Kemetic, Temerian, Metrunetcher. The letters R and L are interchangeable in the Metrunetcher. Thus, Re or Ra becomes El or Al. Thus, Elo, Ila, Ayla, or Allah. And well as their plural forms, Elohim, Allahumma, Hallelujah, is derived from Ra, meaning great light. Great light, right? Because Ra in Arabic becomes Allah, Allah. And you hear Muslims say all day long, Allah, which comes from Ra. All right. Grandmaster Flash and Melly Mel, Grandmaster Melly Mel, Ra. All right, is one of the titles of Ra, is Ra'ur, right, which means Ra the Great One. The title into Al becomes in Hebrew El, and Arabic in Al. Hence, Ra'ul or Ra becomes Allah in Allah, or which is actually forms of Amin, Ra, and Alat is actually Aminta or Aminrayet or Ra'ut or Utrat, becoming Alat or Alat. So notice some Muslims sounds and pronounce Allah as Allah, because there's this ancient Kemetic, that's Metrunetcher. All right, that is not Arab Islam. See, this is the problem. People don't do enough research and study, so they think they know something and start dissing a world religion in which that you brought to the world, but it got perverted by the pale skins. Whether they're Europeans or Arab, pale skins. And they brought their own traditions and perverted the teachings. We'll be talking about the essential teachings are still good. You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. All right. So here we have Yahweh, Yahuwah, Yahweh, which is one of the major titles of Tahuti, the God of wisdom, the nectar of wisdom. His title is Yah, which becomes Jah or Jehovah, etc., meaning the crescent moon. All right. He's called Ahuhi. Ahuhi. The letters Huhi turned backwards are I-H-U-H, or rather Yahivahi, the 4 letters of the Tetragrammaton, the sacred name of God, the supreme nectar, or in this case, the lesser God of the supreme nectars. All right, this is Adolabroth. We keep talking about Adolabroth within the Gnostic text, but don't realize that Adolabroth is Tahuti, which we often so much talk about within the ancient Kemetic text. Tahuti is also Geb, hence become the archangel Gabriel. Physical form is Joseph, the adoptive father of Jesus, or Jesus' adoptive father. In this form, he symbolizes the crescent moon. Yah. Tahuti often seen image in that of an ibis, which is a crane-headed bird. And an ibis was called Habu. And Habu into Metronetra is Habu is pronounced Habwa. 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 A Hawaii comes Habwa, who corrupted into Hawa, which is actually Eve's name in Hebrew, as she is Hawa, which means mother of all living, which is reference to DNA. It symbolizes the Kundalini. The name Yahuwah actually is the sound or the beat made by the heart. Dum dum, dum dum, Yahuwah, Yahuwah, Yahuwah. The Tetragrammaton letters Yahe symbolizes the 4 amino acids of protein, the building blocks of life, and the 4 chambers of the heart. All right? That's what this symbolizes. Yod, as you see here, symbolizes fire, which is male, right hand, fist, handle, point, index finger, hand of the symbol of God, power, activity, seeds, semen, penis. He symbolizes female, window opening, aperture, desire to be, exist, sighting of a star, to breathe, to become. Va symbolizes masculine, male, that which joins, nail, penis, peg, which holds the door, curtain before the ark of the Lord. And then here again, which is female, window opening, aperture, desire to be, exist, sighting of a star, to breathe, to become. So Yahivahe is nothing more than the significance of the Tetragrammaton of the 4 lettering, but it also is nothing more than the name of Tahuti, as you see above. Now we know that when you take Yahivahi and you put one letter over the other, it actually formed the body of man, one man. All right, these are the sciences. Now, all 3 major world religions, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, in that order, the daughter, the granddaughter, the great-granddaughter. Right? All of that symbolizes, and all say that they come from Abraham. But see, Abraham is a title of Tahuti. Tahuti has the ancient title Aprahu, meaning judge, which was corrupted into Abraham or Abram or Ibrahim or Abraham. Tahuti was Aprahu, all right? The judge for the 2 combatants Who's the combatants? The Netchers, Heru, and Set. Nevertheless, the Temerian Egyptian connection remains. The biblical scholars states that Abraham is not a Hebrew word because it is an Egyptian word, Temerian, Kemetic. Abraham, who is actually Brahma in the Sanskrit teachings. Ab means heart or father. Ra means sun, light. Ham means black, dark complected. All right, or the heart of the black sun. In other words, the core or the seed, in reference to Abraham in Hebrew being the father of many nations or the father of the great multitudes. Abraham original name was Abram, as in Brahma, right? Which means high or exalted father. And you have Abraham, which become Brahmin, and Brahm, which is Abram. You have Para-Abram, and you have Brahma, which both are forms of Ra. So this is Ra moving through the matter now, which become Afu-Ra. Afu-Ra is Ra moving through the matter. In other words, the material world. Abraham symbolized that biblically, not a real man. So that means that Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are securing their position of an allegory on a fictional character. And I'll prove it, right? Now, here comes Christianity and Islam through Isaac and Ishmael, right? And also Judaism, Christianity through Isaac, all right? And Ishmael, the Arab traditions or Arab people. At least this is what they tell us. But when you realize it's an allegory, then you understand that somebody's been doing some lying. Heru, the son of Osar, was the rightful heir to the throne, which Set sought to usurp, take from him. And Heru, which symbolizes the spirit force operating through the core of the sun, the solar core of the earth, the heart, the cardiovascular system, that will biblically call Abraham, right, has the ancient title Hek, meaning ruler. Hek also pronounced Shek, all right? This is corrupt into Isaac, Hebrew, and Ishak, Arabic. Set has the ancient title Samaur, meaning Sami, which means to join, unite, great. So Semi-Ur in this instant means the great union. Semi-Ur was corrupted into Samuel, hence becomes Ishmael, Hebrew, and Ishmael, Arabic. Set, which is Semi-Ur, is the basically the spiritual force operating through the planet Mercury, right? The red hot desert sand of Earth, the nervous system and gonads, testes and ovaries, seats of aggression from which we get fired up, turned up. You know how that was a big word within the last 5 years. Everybody was turning it up, turn up. And he also governs the desires, whether guided, lawfully, or misguided lust. The two combatants, Heru and Set, which is Hek and Samuel, Isaac and Ishmael, was adjudged by Tahudi under his title Abrahu or Ibrahim, and Isaac receiving the covenant and blessing as the opposite to his elder Ishmael receiving the covenant and blessings is a perversion of the knowledge of the gods. Where Heru, Hek or Shek, received the rulership over certain aspects of creation as opposed to his elder Set receiving rulership over certain aspects of creation. All right, so Heru, as Heru-Ur or Ur-Ra, is the eldest of the gods when he's in his elder form. But we know Heru is also the babe, Hippocrates, which is the baby Christ, the same as baby Jesus in his swaddling clothing. Right, so as Heru-Ur, he and Set, Sut, or one, but as Harpocrates, which is Hippocrates in Greek means Heru or Horus, the child. Set, Sut is the eldest or oldest in this instant. But see, you also have Horus, the elder, which is Ra, which means he was the eldest of the gods. So we talking about him in his form of his father, which is Asar, which is Ra, Atum, Ptah, Atah. Amen. Then we look at the word Holy Bible. The word holy is derived from the Greek word helios. You get the word heros or heroes, hero or hero. And the Latin word is halo, as in hero or heru, both meaning sun, illuminating light. Note that once again, the letters R and L are interchangeable. Both words are derived from the Metu Neter, the ancient Sumerian word Heru or Haru, another form of Ra or Sar, his father or Saru. The word Bible is derived from the Latin word Babos or Peplos or Papyra or papyrus in this sense. And the earliest Greek word papyrus, stemming from the Metu Neter Sumerian word of papyra, which in English transliteration is paper. Only thing they did was take the A off. So you still speaking Metu Neter when you say paper. That's Metu Neter, that's ancient Sumerian. Hence the Holy Bible is the plagiarized version of papyra, right? Papyra or Ra Papyra, the book of knowing, the evolution of Ra and the overthrow of Apep. Read the Gods of the Egyptians, volume 1, page 308 through 21 by E.A. Wallace Budge. Ra Papyra is where the name Holy Bible comes from, is Ra Papyra. Holy is Ra, Papyra is Bible, book. So the Holy Book, the Holy Bible is derived from Ra Papyra, which is the book of knowing, not guessing, not wishing, not hoping, knowing. Even faith is said to be evidence of things yet hoped for, and is the evidence of things yet hoped for. But is it evidence? You got to have some evidence. Knowing the evolution of Ra and the overthrow of Apep. It's the gods of the Egyptians. The Holy Quran. Yeah, even the word Holy Quran. The word Quran, the word holy, once again means sun, derived from the ancient Greek word helios, meaning sun, or Phoenician. All right. From Heru or Haru, meaning sun, light, day, time. Quran in Arabic means recite, recycle, or cycle. Thus, Holy Quran means sun cycle, chronological, or chronology. Furthermore, Haru is also known as Ku. Ku is the ancient Metu Neter name or word for illumination, intelligence, wisdom, as in Ku-Ra, is thus the wisdom of Ra. Muslims refer to the Quran, Ku-Ra, as the book of wisdom. The wisdom of Ra was a collection from Ra Papyra, or the book of knowing, the evolution of Ra and the overthrow of Apep. This is why the Quran is 73% of the Bible. It's a known fact. That is 73% of the Quran is derived from the Holy Bible, Old and New Testament. The other 27% is derived from the Zoroastrian or Zarathustra text called the Zen Avesta, the Lost Books of the Bible, Forgotten Books of Eden, and the Apocrypha, which is a collection of 17th century, 18th century English translations of some Old Testament, pseudo Pigraphia, and New Testament Apocrypha, which were assembled in the 1820s and then republished with the current title in 1926. All right. Holy Quran 25. All right. The 25th surah, the 5th ayat. And they say, tales of the ancients. See, these are the tales of the ancient ones, the Moorish Nagas, the dragon riders, breathing fire, generator, operator, destroyer. All right. These are the tales of the ancients, which he had caused to be written, and they are dictated before him morning and evening. So Muhammad was being dictated to him by the angel Gabriel, the tales of the ancients. Holy Quran, Surah Ra, the poets, 26 ayat, 196, the 26 Surah, the 196 ayat. And it says, Wa innahu lafi zuburi al-hawalina. So here it says, without doubt, it is announced in the mystic books of the former peoples. In the mystic books of the former peoples. Zaburi. Zaburi means the mystic books. Zaburi, books. Now, what do mystic means? Well, Webster Random House Dictionary. Mystic means mysteries, transcendent ordinary human knowledge, as by directed communication with the divine or immediate intuition in a state of spiritual ecstasy, involving a characterized by esoteric, otherworldly, or symbolic practices of content, as certain religious ceremonies and art. Spiritually significant, ethereal. Mystic, ethereal. Right? This is how you get channeled information. You tap into the Akashic records, the ethereal or the etheric, all right, realm. Holy Quran 43 Surah 4th ayat, the mother of the books, Al-Umma al-Kitab, the foundation of revelations, the preserved tablets, right? Lau Mahfu, Mahfis, is the core or essence of revelations. The mother of books is in Allah's own presence, because the mother of the book is in your DNA, which is in Allah's own presence, because Allah is closer to you than your jugular vein. This is in the Hadith in the Quran. The Sufis say Allah is in the heart of man, but we don't want to believe that. But yet, in the Rosicrucian traditions, they speak of a seed atom in the heart in which that all your life experiences are inscribed upon and is in the right ventricle. The following is the tablet of content to the original sources of the Quran. Even the Holy Bible, some papers, or Ra, paper Ra's, rights of the books that is no longer part of the biblical collection. They are forbidden or missing books. The Quran, which means sun cycle, writes the 4 major books, the Torah, Zabur, right? That's where you see Zaburi. We're talking about the books, the mystic books. The Sabor is talking about Psalms. All right, the Psalms of Akhenaten, those are the tales of the ancient. The tales of Amenhotep the fourth and his father, Amenhotep the third, who becomes your David and your King David and King Solomon within the Bible. Injil, which is Revelation, and then the Quran. Of course, the Torah is Tanakh or Pentateuch, sent by Moses or Musa. The Sabor, Psalms, was sent to Dawood, Dawid. The Injil, Revelations, was sent to Isa, Jesus, right? And the Quran was sent to Muhammad. All right? So it told you that it got parts of it from the Old Testament. Most of it, as a matter of fact, 73%. The Holy Quran, second surah, 142 ayat. It says, the fool among the people will say, what has turned them from the Qibla? The word Qibla is the Kabbalah or Kaaba, to which they were used. All right. So even the Quran has Kabbalistic teachings. This is why the Moors use the Quran. Because if you get the Holy Kabbalah by A.E. Wakes, he states on page 20 or so in the Holy Kabbalah, in the footnotes, in the commentary, that the Moors brought the Kabbalistic information into Europe. That means that they brought the ancient Egyptian mystery school system into Europe to civilize the Europeans with at least 3 of the 9-degree system. And they gave them the 3 degrees, which become the Blue Lodge or the Blue House. Inter master, you have inter apprentice. Well, you have what is it? First level. You have inter apprentice, master mason, and I can't remember but it's 3 of them. All right. So we understand is that those 3 degrees. All right. Those 3 degrees, the first 3 degrees, are the 3 degrees in which that they learned from the ancient mystery school teachings of the Moors when they brought that in. Now, you can get this information from Stolen Legacy by George G. James. He has that information in the book. This is why he was killed masonically. His neck was cut from ear to ear and his tongue was pulled out. Of course, he revealed the greatest secret there was as far as the fraud is concerned, is that the Albion has no charter from the ancient Egyptian mystery school. So therefore, what do they look like? The descendants of the Egyptians, i.e. you and I, to go to them in order to get approval. Or for them to try to call us to tell us that we was clandestine. All right? So here it is, the origin of the Old Testament. Aristus writes that Demetrius recommended Ptolemy Soter to gather a collection of books on kingship and ruling, like Plato's Philosopher Kings, and furthermore to gather books of all world's people that he might better understand subjects and trade partners. So Ptolemy gave Demetrius the job of gathering extant books and scrolls and supervising the translation of the books of all nations into Greek. Ptolemy Soter carried off 100,000 Jews. They was deported to Egypt and fled. They're still reeling from the influences of the Babylonian captivity. Jews came to be a large minority of the population of Alexandria, living besides the Egyptian Greeks in their own quarters. All right? And this is how the Greeks got lighter. All right? Was mixing in with the Greeks. The Jews, this is how the Jews got lighter. Because remember, when the Jews left Egypt, they was black. All right? When they came back, they was pale. All right? And the president at the time stated that we can't recognize you as such because when you left here, you was black. When you came back, we don't know what happened. Well, when they came back, they mixed in with the Greek Caucasian lineage from out the Caucasus Mountains and got lightened up. At Demetrius' suggestion, Ptolemy hired and housed 72 rabbis for the project. All right. According to article, the Library of Alexandria, the workshop in which religion was modeled was in Alexandria in Egypt. Focal center of culture, knowledge, religious speculation, and propagandism. It becomes the emporium for religion dogma throughout the East and a place of resort for the disciples of nearly every system of religious faith then existed. The Jews had always copied features they liked from the religions of their neighbors and conquerors and drafted their doctrines into Judaism. As you can see, this is the reason why Judaism has so much Egyptology or Kemetology, Temerianism in its information. So much so till it actually is Egyptian information. And this is why the Hebrew Israelites or the so-called Jews or Jewish people fight the Egyptians or the Kemetic Temerian information, because they want to keep that separate identity. But the Jews always copy features that they like from the religion of their neighbors and conquerors and drafted into the doctrine in which that is now called Judaism. And Old Testament history shows. Ptolemy Philadelphus had set up the museum library and later the Serapeum, right? The Serapeum have followed. Now, you don't know who Serapis is, but we'll get to him in a second. And have followed and was open to the public. The city offered the perfect opportunity to religious thinkers to learn the ideas of the sages of ancient religions and adapt them. Right? Theological schools arose and a stimulating mix of pagan, Jewish, Eastern thought developed. Ideas was adopted not only from other theologies common in Alexandria, but also from Zoroastrianism of Iran. And even through the founder of Neoplatism, Amunis, right? Amunis, right? Buddhism, Hinduism from India. Men of every philosophy and every faith met, exchanged ideas, and borrowed religious doctrines, revising their own religions in light of the other's wisdom. As we do today, sharpen sword. According to Carl F. Burgess, how the Old Testament came to be, he states, although the whole of the Old Testament has been written by 150 BC, the writings was not declared authorized or authoritative until 90 AD by a council of rabbis at Jamnia. It was this group which decided which of the latter writings should be included in the Old Testament. It was at this council of Jamnia in 90 AD that the compilation of the new official said Jewish canon or Cohen and what we call the revising of the original Septuagint Old Testament began. All right, Jesus Chronicles Old Truth Uncovered. This is by Judy James Carter. She states that it was not until 397 AD that the Bible assumed its present form. Its first synod of Laodicea, held about 363 AD, an assembly of bishops decided what could be read aloud. They were Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, Esther, 1st and 2nd book of Kings, 3rd and 4th book of Kings, 1st and 2nd book of Isra, the book of Psalms, which are 150 Psalms, the Proverbs of Solomon, Ecclesiastics, the Songs of Solomon, Job, the 12 prophets, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Barak, as in Barack Obama, Barak, the Lamentations and Letters, and Ezekiel and Daniel. These was what was read loud. So let's go through them. Let's see where these books come from. I'm going to tell you the stories and the books where they come from out of ancient Kemet or Mesopotamia. Genesis is derived from the Temerian, Egyptian, Kemetic language, Herusut, or the opening of the mouth ceremony, coming forth by day and night, light and shadow, positive, negative, good, bad, agreeable, disagreeable. The book of Noah, the evolution of Ra and the overthrow of Apep, Sutek, Kansu, or Cain, and Asar, Heru, or Abel. That's who that was. Cain and Abel is nothing more than Heru and Set. All right? Deliverance of man from destruction. Nu Ankh Ra, or Noah. All right? You have the Mir Pyramid, which is the pyramid text. You have the Papyrus D. Obeni, called the Potiphar story, or the tale of the two brothers, which is talking about Seb or Joseph. All right? Which actually is the story of Imhotep. They correlated that and mixed that in. The traditions of the 7 lean years in Egypt and the latter Mesopotamian legal documents, right? The Enuma Elish, the creation story, the Babylonian epic of Gilgamesh, which is Utnefesh Tim. Sumerian. His name is Zuzorda, Zusudra, which is Noah, right? The Sumerian tale of Dumuzi is talking about Enlil, who is Abel also, which is form of Asar. And you have Enkidu, which is Enki, or Cain, which is also Set, symbol of Set in ancient Kemet. And you have Adapa, which is Enmedu Ranki, which is Enoch. Adapa is Enoch. Eden, you have Edom or Edom, which is Adin or Eden or Atun or Atun. Eden extends into Ethiopia, Cush. Old Testament Genesis 2:13. And the name of the second river is Gihon. And the same is that compasses the whole land of Ethiopia, Upper Egypt. Second or two, Exodus, derived from the Sumerian word or real history of Thutmose or Tahutimus. The third, Akhenaten, Amenhotep, or Akhenaten or Amenhotep the fourth. Akhenaten is also called Ankh-Anten. The Battle of Megiddo. This is the book where Exodus comes from. The Asiatic campaign of Thutmose III. The expulsions of the Hyksos under Thutmose, right? Who is Tahuti's or Thutmose's the first father. And the latter story of Sargon the first of Arcadia, called the Legend of Sargon, which is where the concept of Moses being sealed in a basket filled with slime. This is a story that existed 1,000 years before that story from Sargon. Concept of God became Kemetic, Sumerian, which is Aten, which becomes later in Hebrew Adon or Adonai. Even in Greek, the God becomes the sun god, which is Adonis. Also, the concept of the golden calf derived from Het Heru or Hathor, which is Hagar, which is one of the wives of Abraham or Ibrahim. Apis, the bull, or which is also Osiris or Osaru. 3. Leviticus is derived from the Sumerian book Papyrus or Papyrus of Ani, the Ma'atian Code. The Ma'atian Code is in there. And then later on, you have the Hammurabi codes. And other collections of the laws includes the Codex of Namu of Sumer, all right, 2050 BC, the Codex of Ish-Nuna, 1930 BC, and the Codex of Lepet Ishtar of Isen, which is 1870 BC. Then you have 4, Numbers. It derived from the Sumerian actual history story heritage of Thutmose or Tahutimus. The third, Ankh-Anten, Akhenaten or Amenhotep the fourth, and the story of Zenuhi. That's where Numbers come from. 5, Deuteronomy is derived from the Sumerian, originally of the 147 confessions to become the 42 negative confessions of Ma'at, in which that, of course, becomes the 10 commandments in your Bible, but that is from the Papyrus or the Papyrus of Ani. And then the later Hammurabi codes, where you get some of the other 613 laws from in the Old Testament. Other collections of laws include the Codex of Namu of Sumer, the Codex of Ish-Nuna, and the Codex of Lepet Ishtar of Esim. So 6, Joshua is derived from the Sumerian concept of Isumus, which is Heru or Shu, which later becomes Jesus, the Messiah or Christ or Khadirah in the New Testament. It is derived from the Battle of Megiddo, the Asiatic campaign of Thutmose III, and the expulsion of the Hyksos under Thutmose the first. You have 7, Judges. is derived from the Sumerian concept of Mayat Ra, which is this book is called Deborah in Hebrew, which is Heheru, the judge of all Israel. The Song of Deborah is derived from the myth of the Epiphany of Sinai. Samson means man of the sun, which is Ra or consciousness. Delilah means door to darkness, subconsciousness, also symbolized as the moon. Thus, Samson symbolizes the sun, 7 sun rays or spectrum. Hence, he has 7 locks. And Delilah, the moon, shadow times, called night or the underworld. It is taken also from the journey of when Amos to Phoenicia and the Akkadian creation epic. 8. Ruth is derived from the Sumerian concept of Heheru. Heheru turned backwards without vowels is Ruth. So all these Moors saying that, you know, they come from the bloodline of the woman Ruth. Nah, you come from the root, R-O-O-T, all right, of humanity, the Syrian beings. As far as just one woman, you know what I'm saying, named Ruth, no. The temple of Heheru at Dendera is dated over 2,100 years ago. 9. Samuel is derived from the Sumerian concept of Samu-Ra. Samu-Ra means the priest of the sunlight. It is also partly taken from the Epic of Gilgamesh, Balashi, Astraka, the Akkadian creation epic, and it tells of Akat. Kings, the Book of Kings, derived from the Sumerian, Assyrian, Babylonian reign of mainly Akhenaten, Amenhotep IV, Thutmose III, Shinnok, the first, Adad Narari, the third, Tiglath, Pileser the third, Assur, Nasur Pal the second, Shaman Nasir the third, Sargon the second, Sennacherib, Sharib, Nebuchadnezzar the second, such as these are the books that kings come from, right? Ashura Nasir Pal the second, expedition to Lebanon, the Shalaman Nasir the third, the fight against the Armenian coalition, all right? Adad Nadarari the third, expedition to Palestine. Gilath Pileser the third, campaign against Syria and Palestine. Sargon II, the fall of Samaria. Sennacherib, the siege of Jerusalem. The campaign of Seshahonk the first. The Mesopotamian legend of Etana, which is talking about Elijah within your Bible. And the Ogaric, or the Ogaritic poem about Baal and Anith, right? This tells of the name of David in Hebrew, all right, which is called Hebheru, is DVD or TUT, which is Tut, short for Thutmose, and King Tut, right? Tut Ankh Atun or Tunk Ankh Amen, or Tahudi Ankh Atun, the alleged son of Ankh Anten, Amenhotep III, which is Salomon, or Sol-Om-On, is the sun, soul, in its 3 different phases, morning, noon, and evening. It's derived from 3 different land masses, which were once providence of the ancient, right, Kemetic Egyptian Empire, right? Before the so-called Pale Romans, it was the Etruscians who was melanated. Before the Pale Greeks, it was the Cretans. Indian, you had the Indo-Kushites. Egypt, you had the Kemetic, which is also in Sumer. Salomon was a composite character of Akhenaten, All right. Elijah is Ra, fire. Elijah brings down fire from heaven like the mythical so-called Grecian Minoans or Cretans. All right. Or Prometheus. Prometheus brings down fire. Well, guess what? Elijah brings down fire. Coincidence? I don't think so. 11. Chronicles. They derive from the Sumerian concept of mainly Thutmose the third, Akhenaten, and Syrian chronicles of the kings, such as the Ashur-Nasir-Pal II expedition to Libyan, Salmanaser III fight against the Armenian coalition, and Adad-Nasirah the third expedition to Palestine. And so the same books in which that was part of the Book of Kings, the same books used to also form Chronicles. And you have 12, Isra, right, which is the concept of Asar, in the Pehem Herusut, which is the opening of the mouth ceremony, coming forth by day and night, light and shadow, which symbolizes the father principle of the slumbering, waiting to be awakened by Set. So the slumbering soul of Asar, which is symbolic to Kundalini Shiva, in the cave of Brahma, right? The soul embedded inside of the pineal gland in the third ventricle. He is the Lord of the underworld, who is the subconsciousness plane or the subconscious plane, waiting to be awakened by Set, Isis, or as she's called, or the conscious element, which is Kundalini, symbolized the mother principle Kundalini, Umbalini, Shakti, the first place at the back of the head, Medulla Oblongata, which is the mouth of God. It taken also from the Assyrian or Babylonian historical texts, such as the Chronicles of the Chaldean Kings and the fall of Jerusalem, and Nebuchadnezzar II and Cyrus. 13, right? Nehemina, derived from the ancient Kemetic symbol or Sumerian concept of mainly Thutmose III, Akhenaten, all right? Also derived from petitions for authorization to rebuild the temple of Yahoo. 14, Esther, the book derived from Set, because that's who Esther is, just like within the Babylonian is Ishtar. In the Sumer, she known as Ishtar, right? Meaning the star, Kundalini Shakti, the star force that makes it, which actually is 93% of your body is stardust particles of material. She also symbolizes the brightest star in the night sky. In Masonic lore, is called the blazing star, or the star behind the, or the sun behind the sun. In the Holy Quran, Surah Al-Najm, which is Surah 63, Ayah 49, says Allah, He is the Lord of the mighty star Sirius. It is also the dog star constellation, or set specifically Sirius B, Polo, also called the Eastern Star. You have Polo Tolo, right? Sirius B is Polo Tolo. You have Ziggy Tolo, right? But here, thus the Eastern Star Order, the Widows, has a high order similar to the Shriners called the Daughters of Isis. No coincidence. Actually telling us that the Masonic orders are derived from the teachings of the ancient Sumerian mystery school. You can read Jesus Chronicles Old Truths Uncovered by Judy Carter. 15, Job, derived from the Sumerian Egyptian concepts of these excretions text of the Kemetic Asiatic ruler Ayayum, which is the cuneic form for Job. Later it becomes the Babylonian Bab equals gate, Ilion equals God in heaven, sun. So Babylon means the gate of God in heaven. All right, the gate to God in heaven is talking about through your pineal gland. That is the gate. That is to your heaven. It's through that gate. All right, but it was a poem about a virtuous man named Tabu Utel Bal, who was solely afflicted, called the Babylonian poem of Tabu Utel Bal, or the Ugaritic legend of Correct. It is said by many scholars to be the first book actually written in the Old Testament is Job. But it says, in my prison, my body is turned into fetters of myself. My feet have stumbled. With a whip has beaten me. All day long to pursue me. In the night watches he let me suffer. Through torture, my joints are torn asunder. My limbs are destroyed. My sickness baffles the conjurers, and the seers left dark my omens. All right, so that is actually some of the same exact information spoken of by Job in the Bible, and this information is taken from the Babylonian poem of Tapu Utalabal, all right, or the Ugaritic legend of Keret, all right? Same information, same thing. Psalms is derived from the hymns of Akhten, written by Nagu or Pharaoh Akhenaten or Amenhotep the fourth. Specifically, we know that Psalms 40 and Psalms 104 are identical to the hymns of Akhenaten or Akhten. Right? And once again, Akhten is David or Tat or Tahuti. All right? He's a Tat or Thutmoses. All right? He really would have been Thutmoses the sixth. All right? We're talking about from the same lineage. All right? So he took after his father, Amenhotep III, and he became Amenhotep IV. But changed his name when he started worshiping Aten to Ankh-Aten. Right? 17, Proverbs derived from the instruction of the Nagu or Pharaoh's Ptahhotep, the instructions of Amenhotep, the Akkadian observation of life, and the words of Khadirah, papyruses dating back as far as 1200 BCE, who directly inspired the book of Proverbs dating to approximately 800 BCE. So Proverbs was inspired by these books that we just made mention of, the instructions of Amenhotep and the Akkadian observation of life, and also the instructions of the Ptahhotep. All right. And is originated also from Akhenaten, Amenhotep IV, saying that maketh me also King Solomon, or Sol, which Sol equals Latin for son, Oman, for Amen. Right. So the sun god Amen, Amen Ra. Solomon means Amen Ra. All right, which he was Amen Ra. He was Amenhotep the fourth. Akhenaten was. Right? And we know that Om is the Sanskrit deity for the sun or universal light or sound, because King Solomon is a mythical character and is a metaphor for the mental principles of wisdom or enlightenment. 18, Ecclesiastics, derived from the Sumerian papyrus, the word of Khadirah, and Sumerian proverbs. 19, the Songs of Solomon derived from the Sumerian poems called the love songs of the Akkadian hymns, called also the hymns to Ishtar, which is Esther or Set. 20, Isaiah derived from Sumerian papyruses, the prophecies of Nephrohu, the wisdom of Khadirah, and the Sumerian proverbs. You have 21, Jeremiah, Sumerian papyrus, the words of Khadirah, and the Akkadian Mary letters. 22, the lamentations of Jeremiah, ancient Kemetic papyrus, the words of Khadirah, and the Akkadian Mary letters. 23, Ezekiel, derived from the Sumerian information, Ezekiel 1:1-20, man is Aquarius, or Ptah, which is John, or the Archangel Gabriel. The lion is Leo or Ature. Segmat, which is also Matthews or Uriel. The ox is the calf. The bull, which is Taurus or Asur. Happy, which is Apis. The strong bull, marked, or Raphael, the archangel. And then eagle is Scorpio or Heru, hawk, all right, Luke or Michael, which represents the four cardinal points of the zodiac. It's also called the prophetic book, is primarily derived from the Heru, which is Hathor, which is the temple writings of Dendera, which is the will within the will. And also your chakras are called wills. No coincidence. All right, 24. Daniel is derived from the earlier version of the Ugaritic legend of Daniel, Babylonian poem of Daniel, which is 1600 BCE, which stems from the legend of Akhet. And then you have the 12 minor prophets of the Old Testament, Hosea, in Hebrew, salvation, which comes from the Egyptian Metronetra word, Husa, which means breath of life. Joel means in Hebrew, whom all right. All right, hold on. Got to see what's going on here. Let's get back to it because somehow I came out. We ain't playing that. We have to get all this information. We ain't playing that bullshit tonight. All right, there we go. Know what's going on with that. All right, so now place of the unseen from Naaman, Habakkuk, embrace in Hebrew, Habakkuk, meaning God of the west and the east. Zephaniah, meaning Hebrew, hidden by Jah, God, which actually is Sutek N, meaning hidden or black power of heaven. Hagar, or Haggai, meaning Hebrew, festive, which is Heru, meaning house of light. 35. Zechariah, meaning in Hebrew, memory of the Lord. Think about, meditate upon, ruminants, remember, recollect, recite, and hence declare and recite, which comes, Zechariah means Torah or Patara or Patare Soke, meaning opener of the way, the path. Then Malachi in Hebrew means king or angel, which comes from Maku, which means truth of the glorious light, or Merkah, which means light spirit in Metronetra. So we understand is that Ptolemy the First is the one who put together this collection of scholars and brought them all together, all right, as he himself attempted to get initiated. This is according to Historical Origin of Christianity by Professor Walter Williams, all right, by an individual from the Coptic belief, all right, Coptic Christians, as they refer to them as. Actually, it is said that Christianity existed 300 years before the establishment of the popery that we have now with the Albions in the lead or at the head, all right? But Ptolemy, what he did was bring together everyone, as we showed earlier, Ptolemy the First of Sota, and this is his lineage here. And as you see, several Cleopatras. So when they talk about the various Cleopatras, they'll never break it down. Is it Cleopatra 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you know what I'm saying? 8, what? You know what I'm saying? So they don't break it down. So when you hear Cleopatra name again, of course, you have them to break it down for you. So now we got over the origin of the Old Testament. Let's look at the origin of the New Testament. right? If you read a short synopsis of Piso's history by Victor Manos, in it he states his family descended from Philip II of Macedonia, right? Of Macedon, which is 359 to 336 BCE. King Philip was the father of the two sons, Alexander the Great and Ptolemy Lagos the Rabbit, right? The Piscean line or Pisos line descended from Lagos through the many Ptolemies. All right, Ptolemy said royalty of Egypt to include Cleopatra and Aurelius Pisos. In their day, they were well known, and many great writers mentioned them. They were members of the closed society of the Zoroastrianism and priests of the temple of Zilah in the homeland of Pontus on the southern coast of the Black Sea. Zoroastrianism was originally an astro-theological spiritual system degraded into a religion founded around 700 BCE, allegedly by a Persian prophet named Zarathustra, which is Zoroaster, right? Which means student of the stars, a study of the stars. The basic belief of Zoroastrianism is that there is a constant battle between the spirit of good and the spirit of evil, and that the earth is the battleground. Everyone should therefore be dedicated to fighting for good thoughts, good words, good deeds, and we should be judged on how well we have fought when we die. Truthfully, this is the same belief as the ancient Egyptians, which becomes the same belief as Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. So in 66 ED, Aurelius Pisos waged war against Jerusalem and defeated the Jewish people. The Pisos hated the Jews, the real Jews, that is, because they was melanated, and these were the ones trying to fit in and become Europeanized and became more pale and more pale as they went along. Right? They become now, today, your Zionists. The Pisos hated the Jews, all but the Herodians, which are the Duces, or the Sadducees, who were relatives. He tore down the temple there with the help of Pisos' relative named Thaddeus in 70 CE, just as Caesar had torn down the temple of Zilah to commemorate his victory and to create a religion to keep the slaves humble. He and his family authorized the New Testament, cleverly inventing a Jesus Christ, just as the Council of Nicaea created Serapis, this man-made creature, with the same initials as Julius Caesar, oddly enough, JC. What would JC do? Who, Julius Caesar? Oh, Jesus Christ. Who would replace Caesar as the head of what would become the new state religion of Rome, Christendom. Not Christianity, Christendom. Right, so Jesus Chronicles of Old Truths Uncovered by Judy James Carter states that it was not until 1937, remember, that the Bible assumed its present forms. All right, it wasn't until then. All right. The book of the New Testaments are these: the four Gospels, according to Matthew, which is Tahudi or Mati, which is Mayat, who is Tahudi's wife, Mark, which is Marku, Luke, which is Ra, which is form of Ra, and John, which is An or N, which is a form of Ra. The Act of the Apostles, the seven Catholic epistles, which is the letters, John, 2 Peters, 3 Johns, Jude, and the 14th epistles of Paul. This is coming straight from Jeremiah's lectures, right? So we have the New Testament. You can go to www.romanpisosfamily.com. And the Roman Pisos or Pisos family, Aurelius Pisos is particularly authored the New Testament. They are genetically, all right, from Herod. Herod is the individual who was said in the Bible, in the New Testament, to have followed and tried to kill Jesus, any child under the age of 2. So he put a real live person in the skit, in the play, which is Herod, and the Ptolemy bloodline. All right, that's the genealogy of them. All right, Ptolemy the first was the brother of Alexander, the so-called Great, the brother of the both sons of Philip of Macedonia. Right? Ptolemy I was determined that the book of Mark was the first of the Gospels that has been written. And the Roman Pisos family continued to remake Jesus down through the history in various forms, including Muhammad and other figures that was made to appear extraordinary and to have worked miracles. This is the mythological ideas of the heroes, which the name hero obviously stems from the title hero. So we have Mark. Mark name is derived from the title of hero called Marku or Marku, which is the glorious body of light, short to Mark, thus bearing witness to the fact of the Temerian origin. The Gospel of Mark is written in a prototype form before it was crafted into the form which we're familiar with. The earlier version was called Marcus, and also known as the Book of Q, right, which is the source, which is called the German Q or Quill is the German for source. Our latest finding regarding the early version of Mark shows that this was written at about the time of Claudius Caesar by the grandfather of Aurelius Pisos. This version was apparently only a bare sketch and most likely did not give a name to the Messiah. That appears to have been done later by the person who actually played Jesus in the Gospels, Aurelius Pisos himself. The version that was familiar with writing was about 73 CE by Aurelius Copernicus Pisos. Aurelius Pisos was a Roman on his father's side, but was descendant of King Herod on his mother's side, and therefore he knew well about the Jewish religion. He was also close to relative to the Flavians, even though secretly he could inherit and use the Flavian name by his mother descent from them. He gave a story about receiving it from the emperor Vespasian in his other identity as Flavius Josephus. So Flavius Josephus was Aurelius Pisos. See, we breaking all this history, this misinformation, disinformation down. The book of Matthew, his name is derived from Mati, which is another name for Tahudi. His wife is called Mayat. Right? The double-winged justice, truth, and righteousness. Matthew 2 was authored by Aurelius Copernicus Pisos. It was written around 75 CE. Luke name is derived from Ra, written 85 to 90 CE by Aurelius Copernicus Pisos and Finley the Younger. John name is derived from An, given, which is another name for Tahudi. The fourth gospel, the Gospel of John, was written by Justus Copernicus Pisos, a son of Aurelius C. Pisos, and this son was very much like his father in his hatred toward humanity. This gospel was written and circulated around 105 CE. You have Acts, the book of Acts. All right, the Acts of Apostles was written by Aurelius Pisos and the son Justus, who some help from Finley the Younger, 96 to 100 CE. By the way, there's a portion of the Acts that is missing from most English translations and interpretation, and that is chapter 29, which has 10 verses. Romans, right, which you can find in probably the Catholic version. But the Catholic book has 73 books instead of 66, like the King James Version. All right, and we'll get to the reason why King James used 66, because you have 31 plus 2 nerves near and in your spinal column, hence 33. Then you have 33 vertebrates, so hence 66. And the book, the real book, is the book of life, which is your DNA. Romans, the epistle to the Romans was written by another son of Aurelius Pisos, was Proculus Pisos and Claudius Phoebe around the year 100. Claudius Phoebe is known in history as the wife of Emperor Trajan, all right? She wrote the last few verses of this epistle, which many copied in the New Testament in English leave out because that portion was written by a woman. This is obvious, and she gives her name as Phoebe in the book, in the Bible. You can tell where the previous male author leaves off and the female author begins, because the male author signs off with amen or amen. And she writes the last verses, 25, 26, and 27 of Romans chapter 16. If you're looking for it, you might not find it. Just like you don't find in the Old Testament any longer about Onan and him being killed by God for releasing his semen upon the ground. That's not even in the Bible any longer. See, they taking shit out, putting shit in, and you don't know what's going on. You don't know. 1 Corinthians, Galatians, and Ephesians were all written between 100 and 103 CE by Philly the Younger. 2 Corinthians and Philippians was written by Justice C. Pisos between 103 to 105 CE. Galatians was written by Justice C. Pisos and his son Julianus, all right, and who actually becomes the father of Emperor Marcus Aurelius, all right, who vied for the hand of Cleopatra, all right, and they allegedly have children by. First Timothy was written by Philly the Younger, 105 CE. Second Timothy was written by Justice C. Pisos, 107 CE. First and second theologians written by Justice C. Julianus, nephews, Silanus, between 105 to 110 CE. Thaddeus was written by Philly the Younger, 103 to 105 CE. Philemon was written by Justice C. Pisos and his son Julianus, around 106 to 109 CE. James was written by Justice C. Pisos, around 110 CE. First and Second Peter was written by Aurelius Pisos between 110 and 115 CE. First, Second, and Third John written by Julius Copernicus Pisos, who is still another son of Aurelius Copernicus Pisos, written 110 to 115 CE. Jude was written by Julius C. Pisos between the years 110 to 115 CE. All right. Hebrews was written by the grandson of Aurelius Pisos named Flavius Arrhenius, 140 CE. And Flavius Arrhenius, which is Ptolemy, was the real name of the historian who wrote as Aprian. This person was the half-brother of the emperor Antonius Pisos, or Pius, which is Suetonius. Then you have Revelations of John, which is written by Julius Copernicus Pisos, maybe the son of, who may have been the son of the other Julius Copernicus Pisos with the same name. And that was written in or around the year 137 CE. And that was not the book of the New Testament, just written at the end of the story. Right? That was not the end of the book, but we often think it is. So theologian scholars, James Legge, LLD at Oxford University, and Professor William Jennings, PhD, and Honorable Clement Allen, all agreed that hundreds, if not thousands of ancient manuscripts, tablets, and carvings undoubtedly prove that all races of all people have had ever inhabited the earth has strived as best they could to leave record of the chemistry and physiology of their own bodies. Science, Egyptology, Indo-Iranian, Chinese, Japanese, Persia, or Sanskrit, all forever strove to solve the riddle of the human body. To drive the point home, these wonderful holy books are fables, parables, allegories dealing with the chemical, physiological, atomical, and astrological operations of the human body. You don't believe me? Get the book and read God, Man, the Word Made Flesh by George W. Perry and Inez Carey. The problem is that all uninitiated and unlearned persons may read a passage and give it their own interpretation, but their interpretation may not be correct or as in-depth as needed. And this is what I see, and this is the problem. Therefore, dominations or denominations, sects, cults, schisms, and isms may be formed around their interpretation. A cognitive meaning tending to bring a memory, mood, or image, for example, subtly or indirectly to mind, but not necessarily the denotative, right? The denotative, denotative meaning means having the power of explicit denoting or designating or naming. Right now, this is something that Pastor Ray Hagan said, and I agree with. He states that all spiritual belief systems, religions, are based on the life, deeds, and events of eponymous, eponymous, right? Epony, right? Or pon, right? Pony, eponymous people that have been culturally literalized and incorporated into the cognitive reality of the people within that culture. And eponymy is a fictional character who a person or a group of people name or characterize themselves after for the sake of giving validity and can identify to their own existence. And can identify or identity and can add identity to their own existence. And this is what is often done. This is what the Moors are doing. This is what Muslims have done. This is what Jews have done. This is what Christians have done. For example, eponyms such as Adam, Adamic, Noah, Noahic, Ham, Hamitic, Shem, Shemitic, Japheth, Jebak, Janathic, Abraham, Abrahamic, Hebrew, Hebraic, Jacob, Israel, Moses, Mosaic, Jesus, Christian, Muhammad, Mohammedism, Osiris, Osirian, Horus, Krishna, Hindus, Buddha, Buddhism, Prometheus, Adonism, Adon, Quetzalcoatlism, Mithra, Mithric, Zoroastrianism, and others are used by some to claim their place as God's chosen people to give themselves validity. This is what the so-called Jews have done, knowing that the book of Revelations, the 2nd chapter, the 9th verse, and the 3rd chapter, the 9th verse, both states that there are people who call themselves Jews, but are not Jews, but are actually the synagogue of Satan. The Holy Bible, New Testament, Galatians 4, verse 21 through 26 says, "Tell me, ye that desire to be under the law, do you not hear the law? For it is written that Abraham had 2 sons, and one by a bondmaid and one by a free woman. But he who was by the bondmaid, a bondwoman, was born after the flesh, but that of the free woman was born of promise, which things are an allegory. For which are these 2 covenant? For one, for Mount Sinai that engendereth to bondage, which is Hagar. For this Hagar is Mount Sinai." So Abraham's wife, who is Hagar, is actually Mount Sinai. It's telling you right here. An allegory. In Arabia, and answer to Jerusalem, which now is and is in bondage to her children. But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all. So when the Moors, good Moors, read the 101s or 102s, and it speaks about the mother of virtues, the mother of virtue is the holy breath. And the only way to get to Jerusalem is to ride like Jesus on a donkey through the gates of Jerusalem. You get it? All right, for those that missed that, basically, you have to raise Kundalini up, which is the beast, the donkey, with the Christ principle in which that manifests within the solar plexus, which is and take it up to the land of milk and honey, Jerusalem, or Jerusalem. You get it? Jerusalem, Jerusalem. Allegories are intentionally chosen as a means for communicating knowledge. Allegories dramatize cosmic laws, principles, processes, relationships, and functions, and expresses them in a way easy to understand. Once the inner meanings in the allegories have been revealed, they become marvels of simultaneous scientific and philosophical completeness and conciseness. This is why nobody can mess with this metaphysical information that we be dropping. And how we tie this information together historically, astrologically, physiology. The more that they are studied, the richer they become. The inner dimension of the teachings embedded into each story may be capable of revealing several layers of knowledge according to the stages of development of the listener. This is why when we was with Dr. York, or Imam Isa as he was called, all right, and we was answered a lot of New Islamic Hebrews, and then came from that school to into what they refer to as the Holy Tabernacle Ministries, the tents of Kedar, the tents of Abraham, so forth and so on. Okay. So the secrets are revealed as one evolves higher. This is why within the Nuwapians, we had those who still believed that those characters that they was looking at was Dr. York drew them as so-called melanated or black characters was real. And you had those who said, no, that's allegory. This is metaphysical. I was one of the ones that went that way because I read his earlier works, which such as The Secret of Healing, The Signs of Healing. In the book, The Signs of Healing, he tell you that Jesus is the lamb, which is the pineal gland. So now I need to be worried about my own lamb or lamp. Because when your eye be single, your whole body would be filled with light. What do it look like me worrying about a motherfucker from 4,000, 6,000 years ago or 2,000 years ago who's supposed to come and save my soul, and yet my great grandma who was 101 already died waiting for him, and he ain't come, at least not that way. Now when you understand that Jesus come from the word Yahshua, which is Aramaic, or Yahushua, which is Aramaic, in Hebrew, which is Yahshua, and you find the word Shu, which is ancient Kemetic, you find that Shu was the first begotten son of Atum, who emerged from the state of Nun on a mound. All right. And for those that are gifted, you have a mound in your mouth now. It's called the Epiphany Gland. Dr. Deborah Blair speaks of this. The Lalana gland, as they refer to it as. Right? Or Talu gland. It depends on what information you read. But that is the ancient Sanskrit name for the Epiphany Gland. And also you have the barytheric gland, which sits directly underneath it in the chin area. So you have the Lalana gland and the Talu gland. And these glands are the extra glands in your body. And there's more that are developing to eventually you would go from a 7 to a 9 chakra system to a 12 chakra system. All right. So it says the secrets are revealed as one evolves higher. The higher we get, the more we see. It is always there. So this is why you can read the same book and get a whole different understanding. Just like me, I read these books and get a whole different understanding, overstanding than someone who just picked the book up for the first time. And then they go out trying to tell me something like they damn Jehovah's Witnesses or some shit. The Egyptians, ancients, and the present B.I.B.L.E do not believe their allegories as historical facts. They believe in them in the sense that they believe in the truth beneath the stories. The Christian seemingly religion throw away and lose the very soul of their meaning when they mistranslate the ancient Egyptian allegorical language into alleged history, instead of viewing it as spiritual allegory. The result was a pathetic, blind faith in a kind of emotional and superstitious supernaturalism, and effectively aborted the real power of the story, the allegory, to transform the lives of every individual. This is what we do here on this channel. We give that back to you, that power. www.egypt-tahudi.org, /articles, /holy-families.html. Now, the Bible told you that is allegory. What does the Quran says? Well, the Holy Quran, Surah 3, Ayat 6 says, He it is who has revealed the book to thee. Some of their verses are decisive. They are the basis of the book. And others are allegorical. Then those in whose hearts is perversity follow the parts of it which are allegorical, seeking to mislead and seeking to give it their own interpretation. And none knows its interpretation except Allah and those firmly rooted in knowledge. They say, who believe in it, it is all from our Lord, and none do mind except men of understanding. Well, according to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, allegory means the expression by which, by means of symbolic fictitious figures. The expression by means of symbolic fictitious figures. Fictitious figures. Fictitious figures. Symbolic fictitious figures. You get it? And actions of truths or generalizations about human existence. Also in instant, as in a story or painting, such as an expression, symbolic representation, emblem. Therefore, if Abraham, who is Brahma, the supposed father of Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and Hinduism, Buddhism, right? Because that is also Ptah, which Buddhism comes from, Ptah Ra is Buddhism, did not actually exist in human form by itself, and neither did the sons Isaac, the supposed Hebrew, Israelite, Jewish, Christian father, and Ishmael, the supposed Arab father, but they were symbolic fictitious figures. Symbolic fictitious figures. Symbolic fictitious figures. Then the so-called monotheistic belief system, religions of Judaism, the Holy Torah, Christianity, Holy Bible, New Testament, Islam, Holy Quran, are merely stories and tales from older stories and tales of human evolution and awakening from the Pehemheru text or Ra Paper Ra or the Sun books or the Sun papers. So now that we ended that discussion, that has been cleared up on where the Bible comes from and the Quran, right? You don't have to listen to these fools out here telling you bullshit stories, all right? And you giving your money to them and ain't teaching you a damn thing about yourself. Glad I'm no longer in that school. Been over 30 years. Hallelujah. So you don't have a soul, you are a soul, you have a body. 1 Corinthians 3:16, do you not know that you are the temple of God and that the Spirit of God dwells in you? If anyone defiles the temple of God, God will destroy him, for the temple of God is holy, which temple you are. 1 Corinthians 6:19-20, or do you not know that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have from God, and you was not your own, for you was bought at a price, therefore glorify God in your body. 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 Not in a temple, not in a mosque, not in a synagogue, but God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's. 2 Corinthians 13:5, do you not know yourself that Jesus Christ is in you? Jesus Christ is in you. Jesus Christ is in you. Not a man from 2,000 years ago who died on the cross for your sins, but Jesus Christ is in you. Jesus Christ is in you. 2 Corinthians 6:16-18, for you are the temple of the living God, and God has said, I would dwell in them. Will God say he would dwell in them? God said he would dwell in them and walk among them, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people. I will be a father to you, and you shall be my sons and daughters, save the Lord Almighty. So God has daughters. He just said it right here. So not only do you have sons, he has daughters. Jesus was not the only son, obviously, because he said here, I will be your father. I will be a father to you, my sons and my daughters, save the Lord Almighty. Therefore, God exists in you, but you also exist in God, just like the ocean is in a fish, while at the same time, the fish is in the ocean. Get it? I would say check. You see, that's Bobby. Check. So I'm going to say, get it? John has been the Christian word, scriptural proof that God is, fact, a formless spirit, not a man. And though we concur 100% with John 4:24 that God is a spirit, we believe that the Christian world has greatly misunderstood and misinterpreted this most revealing scripture. The proper interpretation of the scripture depends on our understanding in its original context. The literal translation of both the Greek, pneuma, and Hebrew, ruah, words here rendered spirit is the breath or air. This breath or air in motion is, according to the ancient, the intricate life force which emanates all things. It is the prana of the Hindu, is the Ba of the ancient Egyptians. Wade Nobles in his African psychology describes the Ba. The Ba was the second of the 7 divisions of the psychic nature. It represented the transmission of the breath of life. The ancient believed that this was only one power, which was symbolically represented as the breath, hence the holy breath. And this power of breath was transmitted from the ancestors to the descendants. The ancients believed that this power or energy has always existed and always will exist. The holy breath was, is, and forever will be. The breath or the Ba was the invisible source, like electricity, of all vital functions. The Ba was in effect the visible principle which represented the essence of all things, hence the soul. Right, so right here, it says, God in your body, Jesus Christ is in you, the Holy Spirit is in you. That is the Holy Trinity. So the Holy Trinity, of course, is the mother, father, and child, right? The Christianity, they suppress the feminine aspect by replacing the mother with the Holy Spirit. Spirit is nothing but energy or energy in motion, which is obviously the feminine aspect of your spiritual essence. The soul is the masculine aspect, even though it can actually is feminine. But in this sense, they say it's masculine. Right? Aspect of the spiritual essence, which deals with thoughts. The spirit is more intellectual and deal with you through your intuition. The child, which is the son, daughter, is the physical body itself, because the son is the masculine form of manhood, soon to be. And the girl or daughter is the feminine aspect of a woman, she shall be, learning how to navigate through the physical realm of the spirit and soul as his guides, the Ka and the Ba. Separated by equals, all 3 aspects are necessary in the formation of what is referred to as God. Likewise, the Great Pyramid of Giza was constructed to reflect the human microcosm or microcosm. Hall's revealed, this is Manly P. Hall. He says this: the base of the pyramid represents the 4 material elements and the substances for the combination in which that the quadrinary body of man is formed. From each side of the square, there arises a triangle, typifying the threefold divine being, Spirit of God, enthroned with every quaternary material nature. The 3 main chambers of the pyramids are related to the heart, the brain, and the generative system that spiritually centers of the human constitution. The triangular form is also similar to the prostrate assumed by the body during the ancient meditative exercises, right? Which is still now within Islam. This is why you can't throw Islam out. You got these Negroes out here, man, Ali, would you get off that Islam shit? Nigga, you don't understand shit. Fucking damn dunce cap wearing nigga. All religions have high science in it. They all come from out of ancient Kemet. You can't throw one away. You have to damn get the pearls in which that ties back to ancient Egypt and utilize them. The 7 positions within Islam, when they make salat, the word salat means to raise fire. You can't throw that away. When it's talking about Kundalini, and you got these positions in which that can raise Kundalini through the chakra system. And the first book that you open up is called Fatiha, which is taken from the word Ptah. Ptah means opening. Fatiha means the opening of the way. And you can't touch it until you do voodoo, purification, get in tune with the spirit. Then you can put your hands on the book and read the 7 stanzas, which each stanza opens or each verse opens and activates the chakras. End them with the ayin sound, which is the I, which is the, if you look at the Hebrew and Arabic, the symbol for ayin is the symbol of an eye. So when God said, or Jesus said, when the eye be single, the whole body will be filled with light. It's talking about the 3rd eye. When in Old Testament, Jacob is talking about that he went to the land of Peniel and he seen God face to face, the pineal. You can't throw the baby out the bathwater. Stop with that ignorant shit and telling people that nonsense and getting them off the right path of information. All right? In the 102s, the keys, which is the devil sometimes called the lower self. How many cells are there? 2. Name them. Higher self, lower self. What people represents the higher self? The angels who represents the holy city of Mecca. Which people represent the lower self? Those who was cast out the holy city and those who accepted their teachings. What is the higher self? The higher self is the mother of virtues and harmonies of life and breed justice, mercy, love, and right. And can the higher self pass away? No. Why? Because it is Allah and man. Where is Allah and man? Where is Allah and man? Where is Allah in man? What does the lower self breed? Hatred, lewdness, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that harms. What did the higher self say to the lower self at one time when he met him? Where are you going, Satan? And what was the answer the lower self gave to the higher self? I'm going to and fro on earth seeking whom I may devour. Has he finished the task of devouring? Yes. When? When was this time out declared? When he nailed Jesus on the cross. All of that is metaphysical, and you won't understand it until you get the Egyptian Kemetic understanding. Because remember, Prophet Noble Ali, for the Moors that forget this, was not just a universal prophet, but he was an Egyptian adept. You have to become adept in the Egyptian studies. Because the Moors, according to George G. James, in his book, Stolen Legacy, he states specifically that the Moors carried the ancient mystery school information into Europe and used it to help civilize the Europeans, who was being very barbarian at their time. They talking about we were the barbarian shit. They was the savages. And we came in and civilized them. Again, the Holy Quran, Circle 7, chapter, Holy Instructions from the Prophet, this chapter 36, Holy Instruction from the Prophet, know thyself. And it says, know thyself and the pride of his creation, the line united divinity and matter. The line uniting divinity and matter. As you see here, this is the line uniting divinity and matter. Divinity is coming from Heru on the left and Set, which is matter, on the right. Right? Behold, a part of Allah himself within thee. Remember thy own dignity, nor dare descend to evil or meanness. So what I'm saying, what I be saying here, even though I might be cussing, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just trying to make you think. This is called Samatawid, which is Islamism, Sufism, the everlasting gospel, which is moral science. All of that is the same thing, which is ancient Egyptian mystery school information. Webster 9th edition defines air as breath and the gaseous mixture surrounding the earth. Gas is a loose or sodium of various types of atoms. An atom in turn is an extremely tiny ball of energy. Fritjof Capra, in his Tao of Physics, observed atoms consist of particles, and these particles are not made of any material stuff. The discovery that mass is nothing but a form of energy has forced us to modify our concept of particles in an essential way. In moderate physics, particles are not seen as constant as any basic stuff, but as bundles of energy, because this is why they had to go to quantum physics and leave physics, because quantum physics is metaphysics. The word quantum means to make a leap, to go beyond. The word meta means to go beyond. So when they say you that, oh, it's quantum physics now, only thing they teaching is metaphysics. And then you scoff at a nigga who got a damn doctorate in metaphysics, or who teaches metaphysics, talking about that pseudoscience. You a jackass. Energy then is the root of air. And in the ancient world, energy and spirit are synonymous. Both now, spirit and matter, the incorporeal and the corporeal, and the two manifestations of the same one reality. Theologians call this one reality God. Philosophers call it that. Scientists call it energy. Energy is eternal, according to the law of conservation of energy, which states that energy is neither created nor destroyed, but constantly transforms. But whether we call it God, that, or energy, this one essence is the same, and for it sprung both matter and spirit. Madame Blavatsky, matriarch of the Asafi, notes spirit and matter, or Purusha and Prakriti, are but two primeval aspects of the one and secondless. The two are different forms of the same basic stuff, in the same way that ice and steam are different forms of water. This one reality has been found in every major world religion to be the beginning from whence all else sprungs or springs. The Hindu call it Parambra, or Abram, as in Abraham, Brahma. The Zoroastrians call it Zuranda, Kardini, and the Egyptians called it Kanif, where you get the word Neph or Nephish within Hebrew and Arabic, which means spirit. And to the Hebrews, Ein Sof. You have Ein Sof, Ein Sofi triple stage darkness. So this is the dual aspect of the soul, harmonics aspect and fiery aspect. Harmonic is Heru, fiery is Sut. Then you have the union of Heru Sut. All right? And Heru Sut together becomes Malku Sutek. Malku is Heru and Sutek is Set. So Heru or Malku Sutek becomes Melchizedek, which is in your Bible, which is talking about these two becoming one. This picture right here is the picture of Melchizedek or Malku Sutek. See, this is real information. Here it is. According to Egyptian Yoga, Volume 1 by Dr. Muata Ashby, Set joined forces to tie up the symbol of union, Sema. This symbol refers to the upper union of Upper and Lower Egypt under one ruler, but also at a more subtle level, it refers to the union of one's higher self and lower self, Heru and Set, as well as the control of one's breath, life, through the union control of the lungs, breathing organs. This same was in the image of God with the two faces, a man and a woman turned in opposite directions. This is God as spirit, man, and matter, woman. But here you have the same thing in Star Wars, where Yoda is on the back or the neck of Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker symbolizes Heru or Lucifer, Uriel, which is Heru, and Yoda, you know what I'm saying, becomes Judah, Judea, Jehuti, Tahudi. All right. So this is the science here that you see. However, how our ancient mothers and fathers understood the spirit matter dichotomy, to them, spirit and matter were two aspects of the whole, and the whole depended on the harmonious union of the two. Wade Noble notes, reality for the ancients were always conceived as the synthesis of the visible and the invisible, the material and the immaterial, the cognitive and the emotive, the inner and the outer. He states that the supreme being, according to the ancients, were simultaneously spiritual and material. Right? Egyptologist Theophile Obenga served and peace to the God. Alayhi salam. The opposition between matter and spirit does not exist in ancient Egypt, where nature forms a whole. Matter and consciousness intermingles. Spirit and matter are both modes of the same reality. The same was the image of God with two faces, a man and a woman turned in opposite directions. This is God as spirit, man, and matter as mother or woman. All right, this is the same thing that you see right here, descending energy with the 5-pointed star pointing downward. Hence becomes the Eastern Star symbol, which symbolizes descending energy or feminine energy. Then you have the upright pointed 5-pointed star, which symbolizes ascending energy, masculine energy. Hence, if you take the top part of the point pyramid and the two bottom pyramids in the triangular, you will see the face of Jehuti, or as we would call him, Yoda. There it is. All right. The face of Yoda symbolizes Baphomet, right, which we know is nothing more than the golden Mendez. Once again, coming from out of ancient Kemet. Also, it symbolizes the ram horns of Amen. as the goat and the sheep or ram are cousins, same species, right? Just like allegedly the so-called black man, brown man, red man, yellow man, and white man or cousins or brothers, brothers of humanity, right? But yet there's differences, all right? So here we have the ram also symbolizes the uterus, the womb of the woman, symbolizing, as you see here, ascending, as well as also receiving life force energy, male giving life force energy, which is the phallus. Correlates once again with the 10 spheres on the tree of life. The ancient spirit was masculine and matter was feminine. They were represented as two twin gods, Nut and Geb, male and female, called the mother and father of man. Sometimes they were shown in sensual embraces, as in Shiva and Shakti of India. Shiva and Shakti becomes Asar and Arset. They represents the sensual embrace between spirit and matter. At one time, the two gods was welled into one androgynous deity. Overall, the earth god was often depicted as the great hermaphrodite. Right, that's what Atum represented. Atum was called the great bisexual god, who characters are both male and female in his body. Right, in the Egyptian analog, Atum is the great he/she, which really meant the complete one. Not the homosexual shit that you would be thinking nowadays, with men and men, women and women can marry each other, and how much they are pushing this in the populist minds. This is not what this is talking about. This is talking about how a man and woman at one time was within self, before the stage of hermaphrodite and hermaphrodite was androgynous, where male and female was together. And then based on the split in which that begins to occur, over time, you have the hermaphrodites, which was ones who was more feminine, and then the hermaphrodite, who was more masculine, in which that eventually the loss of the functions became clear that this was a woman, but she had the penis fell away to perform what is a small penis, which is called a clit now, clitoris, and the vaginal area, which was now the sewn up area between the legs of the male, you know what I'm saying, has opened. The testes has fallen where there actually was ovaries, so forth and so on. Different names to hide and conceal the fact that men are degenerative women, all right? And that women been on the planet Earth for at least 150,000 years before the male species, all right? This is why when you get up and you give thanks, all right, the first person you thinking after God is your mama. All right, daddy is an afterthought. Stop trying to fool yourself with that. Right, the mother is the nurturer. Right, she was there when you hurt your ass. She was there when you needed to go to the hospital, doctor. When you damn had to go to Lord hell, she put her damn house up for your ass. Right, all of that, cause that's mama's love. I'm saying, daddy was there. You didn't get your ass out there and get a job, nigga. You don't get it, yeah, you need to go out there and get a job. All right, I'll show you how to do some work. That's daddy. All right, tough love. Tough love, nigga. Tough love, nigga. All right, so here, pet realm, higher nature. Seventh chakra, pet realm, higher nature. If you don't mean pet, as in a pet, okay? There's ain't bestiality up in this piece. This is about the pet realm, all right? Chakra 4 to 6 equals union between the two lands, hence lower self, higher self. Chakra 1, 3 equals union between Heru and Set, all right? So remember the seventh chakra, which symbolizes the ascension, as you see here, you have descending energy to lower self, ascending energy to higher nature, or lower nature to higher nature. Descending energy to lower nature, lower self, lower mind, ascension to higher nature, higher mind, higher self. Ultimately, there's no such thing as good and bad. Evil equals live, turned opposite. It is a matter of perception and conditioning. In fact, you are merely worshiping polarity. And polarity happens based between the currents from radiating from the coccus, which is the tailbone, which is right above the crack of your ass, to the brain along the 33 vertebrae to the brain. Right? That's the science. So the supreme axiom, as above and so below, as within, as so without, is the science. Esoteric astrology is intricately intertwined with the study of the 7 rays, which 7 streams of energy that emanate from creative sources, the cosmic sources, and enters our solar system. The zodiacal signs act as a channel through which the energies of subtle bodies of the earth, the astral body, the astral meaning, the starry substance. That's what it means, the starry substance. And the starry substance is what forms the dense body, right? The divine mind, the emotional soul, right? The mind, the arbitral mind, the desired body, the human spirit, the intellectual soul, the intellectual mind, the vital body, the life spirit, conscious soul, the institute, the institute mind, right? All those breaks down into the body of the zodiac or Mother Zodiac, which symbolizes, like for example, Aries, which is the ram, which symbolizes the hair, because lamb or the ram hair is just like wool, and hence the one who has woolly hair is the original people on the planet Earth, i.e. the so-called black man and black woman, the gods, all right? In other words, the Elohim, the Neturus, all right? The Anunnakis, the Syrian beings, whatever term that you want to refer to us as, right? Of course, the neck is the Taurus, the bull, the breast is the Cancer, the crab. Now understand that Aries, the ram, is Amen. Taurus, the bull, is Apis, which is talking about Osar. The breast, which is Cancer, the crab, actually is Kepra, all right, the dung beetle. Right, you have the bowels, which is Virgo, the virgin, right? That is Arset, right? In her other form, she's known as Mary, right? Arset Mary, M-E-R-I. So Mary, the virgin, you get it? As in Jesus, Mary, the mother, the virgin, all right? That's what sits at the top of the bowels is the solar plexus area, which is where the Christ is formed in the manger, symbolic to the bowel area of the abdomen. The virgin. That's where Jesus is born at. All right. Then he's taken up and laid in the cave, which is in the cave of Brahma, which is in the 3rd ventricle, which is talking about the moving up of this substance into the pineal gland, the soul area. Or it descends from the soul down into the solar plexus during a month, during each month. And then this seed is supposed to be taken back up. All right. This is all metaphysics. Right, then you have the secrets, which is the Scorpio, the scorpion. In between Scorpio and Sagittarius, you have basically what is known as Ophiuchus or Ophiuchus, which is the serpent wrestler, which is Imhotep. All right. Scorpio is Sarket, right? Or Saket, which is the name given to the Scorpion King. If you watch The Rock, Dwayne Johnson in Scorpio King. His real name was not the Scorpion King, it was Saket. All right. Then you have the thighs, which is Sagittarius, the bowman for the thighs of the legs, they bow out. All right. Hence the reason why the bow. Of course, that means you also have rickets, which means that you need more vitamin C for them damn legs to get stronger and not be so damn bow-legged. Right, but anyway, this symbolizes the fact of Heru. Right, Heru is Sagittarius, or in a sense, Shu. Right, Heru's other form or elder form, because Heru the elder and Heru the younger. Right, Heru the elder is Shu, the breath of life, Yahshua, as in Jesus Christ's name. All right, then of course you have, we come down from Gemini, which is the shoulders, right? And Gemini is also set the twins. You have the heart, which is lion, the Leo, which is Atum, and his wife, Sekhmet. All right, then you have Libra, which is the balances, the kidneys. And of course, Libra is are set in her form of Mayat, and Mayat symbolizes the balance of the scales there. And of course, you have Aquarius, which is Heru, the waterman. Jesus was told, Luke 22:10, the disciples asked Jesus what would befall us in the last days, and the disciples said, follow the man with the pitcher of water into his house, hence into the house of Aquarius. That's what we are doing right now. We're following the man with the pitcher of water into his house, because water symbolizes truth, and that's what we've been pouring forth. We're pouring forth the truth. The feet, which is Pisces, the fishes, which actually symbolizes basically within the ancient Kemetic tradition, that would be the crocodile deity known as Sebek. I get the Gospels and the Zodiac, the secret truth about Jesus. Reverend Bill Darrelson, right? The story of Moses taken from the Bible, the Holy Bible, Old Testament chapters, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Those four correlates with Jesus' life, taking 4 chapters in the New Testament. Luke resonate the 360 plus 5 days of the earth rotating on his 23.5 degree axis on, angles on his axis. At least this is what they tell us now, as it revolve around the sun, ether representing, which is also Heru, representing the so-called 4 seasons, which is spring, resurrection, summer, ascension, autumn, fall, betrayal, and winter, sepulture, and tomb. All right, this is what this are, which is all symbolic to the 4 sons of Heru. Heru symbolizes the sun, and these 4 symbolizes Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Also represents Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John in the New Testament, but it's Kabin Senuf, which is intestines of fire, Damutif, which is stomach and earth, Happy, lungs and water, Imseti, which is lungs and air. All right. Chapters in the Holy Quran, and Nur, the light, and Najim, the star, Al-Qamar, the moon, Al-Buruj, the constellations, Tariq, the morning star, Venus, Al-Sham, the sun, Al-Duha, which is the morning light, which symbolizes Heru, Horus, or equals hours, right? Because Horus and hours are one and the same. Only thing they did was switch the letters around. Horus is Hours. Same word. Just like they did with church and chakras. Same continents. Take the vowels out. Same continents. So here it is in the Holy Quran. They tell you they don't believe in astrology, but yet they got chapters named after this shit. The Al-Najm, the star, Sirius. Al-Qamar, the moon. Al-Badru, the constellations. They have the damn constellations, all 12 constellations. They have the morning star, Venus, which is at Tariq, which we have is the 5-pointed green star. That's at Tariq, which is the morning star, which is Venus, the 5-pointed star on the flag of the Moors. Al-Nashim, or Al-Nam, Hashem, which is the sun. They're not sun worshippers, but they had a whole chapter, whole surah, 91 is about the sun. All right. So this is why when Muslims be saying things, you just come up and tell them these facts and bust them in their head right quick. I'm talking about these Orthodox Muslims. You know what I'm saying? These Orthodox who don't know anything except La ilaha illallah. You know what I'm saying? Which is nothing wrong with that. I chant that 100 times, 200 times, 300 times or more a day. But you have to know what you're doing. You can't just haphazardly jump into a religion, take your shahada, you know what I'm saying, and then go superstition. Oh, no. Oh, Lord, I done touched the Quran and I didn't wash my hands. Astaghfirullah. And you start putting yourself under so many damn restrictions until you don't know which way is up or what way is down. One is the spirit seen in the sky. The other being is the physical inside the woman. The solar energy, casting off rays of the sun, and then your ovum, the sperm on top of the egg, and the one who gets in is the Christ. You have the plant embryo, and you have the embryo coming from out the woman's, all right, in the uterus. All right, so get the book, Magic Temple by Hilton Otima. Some real science up in here, all right? One thing he said that was very interesting was that he said man began the unnatural practice of eating and drinking. He introduced into his body foreign matter that had no place there. Remember, the stomach is only the size of your fist. This forced the body into defensive state, causing it to battle against the foreign matter to develop internal adjustments to meet the destructive condition. That was the beginning of physical degeneration, which reduced the lifespan from 1,000 years to what it is now, 70. All right, here it is. Methuselah lived to be 969 years old. Adam lived to be 930 years old. At least that's what we've been told by the so-called Holy Scriptures, Bible. By the time they get to David, it done dwindled to 70 years old. Even in the book of Genesis, the 5th chapter, it went from 969 years to spirit of will not strive with man, but 150 years. Shit, by the time you get to Genesis, the 5th to the 10th chapter, shit done dwindled 800 damn years. So eventually it damn dwindles 50 more damn years to 70 by the time of David. All right. So this is the last thing before we go tonight. This is NASA's confirmed superhuman abilities gained through sun gazing. So you want to deactivate the real book of life, then that's your DNA, right? Many proponents of this ancient techniques used by many cultures, such as the Mayans, Incas, Aztecs, Tibetans, Indian yoga, report not only healing benefits to common illnesses, but obtaining superhuman abilities such as advanced telepathy, going completely without the need for food, sun gazing, which is sun eating, also called HRM, phenomenon, coined after Hari Ratan Manek, a NASA team of medical doctors at the University of Pennsylvania observed Hira 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 100 days, and confirmed that he was indeed able to survive largely on light, small amount of buttermilk or water. It must be done within the hours after sunrise and before sunset to avoid damaging the eyes. Because UVA rays are highest during midday, so morning and evening sun is best for vitamin D synthesis and avoidance of cancer-causing free radicals, particularly for those who are lighter skinned. Secrets you and lighter eyes. You must be barefooted, or either you can have on cotton socks in contact with the actual earth. Finally, you must begin with only 10 minutes the first day, increasing to 10 seconds the first day, increasing to 10 seconds intervals each day as you practice. Following the rule, make the practice safe. All right, during your first 3 months of practice, the sun energy is moving through the eyes, charging the hypothalamus tract, rear of the retina, which leads to the brain. The brain then over time becomes activated by the energy supply being received by the sun. By the end of 3 months, the gazing time will now be increased to 15 minutes per day. Bad qualities like mental tension, worry, anger, fear, jealousy, lust are said to disappear, and become replaced by certain confidence, an ability to easily solve your problems, and spiritual knowledge that senses more purely the heart of the issue. So here they have Superman who has blue eyes. The sun, for ordinary humans, staring at the sun will cause blindness. But since the sun's yellow rays give me my vision power, that should be the equivalent of an eye drop. Well, here go our ancestors practicing Qigong. All right. You see the hands of Aten or Unten, Akhenaten, upheld towards the rays of the sun. You see a god or Neter over top of his left hand. Right hand, that's under his right hand. The god is on top of his right hand as he's holding up to the sun. So that means that that's symbolic to the Neteru Aten, the Neter Aten. All right, he's receiving energy, so he's giving energy, transmitting energy, and he's giving and receiving energy. And he wanted to receive the energy of the gods, the god Aten in particular. So it is recommended during 3-4 months period that you use autosuggestion to see your body already healed of any perceived weakness or disease. At 3 to 6 months of gazing, the study shows that the physical diseases start to disappear. Sun gazing 30 minutes per day, all the colors of the sun will have reached the brain. Color therapy attributes the healing of certain diseases to flood the body and brain with a particular color that is lacking depending on the ailment. For example, in liver disease, the color green is deficient. The kidneys need red energy, and the heart needs yellow energy. All of these organs and all the systems are set to respond to different colors of the rainbow, which is why it is recommended to eat a diet rich in the various colors. After 6 months, the energy stored, the technique is no longer being used to repair the body and the mind and can now move into supporting you in gaining your superhuman abilities. After 9 months of practice, you lose the need of food and need only walk barefooted on the earth 45 minutes per day, 6 days in a row to activate the pineal gland. Scientists say that each toe is connected to a specific gland, and by walking barefoot on the earth, you activate these glands. The big toe is thought to align with the pineal gland, the second toe with the pituitary gland, the third toe with the hypothalamus gland, and finally the pinky toe correlates to the amygdalas. Walking barefoot with the sun now falling on top of your head, practitioners claim to create a sort of super magnetic field in and around the body that recharges you and your brain much more thoroughly. So here we have the melanin in the eyes receiving light and converting it into electrical energy that comes across as images. So when you take in more prana from the sun, it makes your dreams more vivid. This will give you the ability to go into what is known as lucid dreams or have out-of-body experiences. The sun UV rays carries vitamin B and other body photosynthesis nutrients from sunlight, just like plants, making exposure to the sun vital to our health. Recent studies suggest that nearly 70% of so-called African Americans are vitamin D deficient. Well, why? Well, melanin makes the synthesis of vitamin D from the sun exposure harder, particularly for you melanated people. So this is why you have to stay in the sun longer than 15 to 30 minutes. You need 1 to 3 hours of sunlight a day. So while the news and the doctors are saying about 15 to 30 minutes of sunlight each day are significant for vitamin D absorption, what they don't say is that amount of time is sufficient for non-melanated people. While there is no standard recommended dosage of vitamin D, it has been suggested that the eumelanin need a maximum 1 hour of sunlight to 3 hours or so maximum sunlight to gain the same units of vitamin D a non-melanated person would get in 15 to 30 minutes, right? Also note, UV rays are highest during midday, so morning and evening is the best for vitamin D synthesis and avoidance of cancer causing radicals. All right, they tell us that the sun is 93 million miles away and happens to be the 93rd attribute of Allah is El-Nur in Arabic, which means the light. So here we are receiving the light once again. This time is Akhenaten, Nefertiti, and their daughters. All right, and as you see, the rays of the suns are coming down in hands. Hands symbolizes touch, to feel, to heal. And so we are really light starved due to working and living indoors under unhealthy artificial light and EMF, electromagnetic fields, examples such as power lines, home wiring, transformers, radios, television, motor cordless phones, or cell phones, microwaves, computers, and other electrical appliances. Light starved symptoms, vitamin D, thus calcium deficient, seasonal afflicted disorder, SAD, neurohormonal transmitted disruptions, depression, fatigue, irritability, lowered immune functionings, and source of suicide. So many of us don't get enough vitamin B, folate or folic acid, B12 or B6 are essentially common. In fact, if you're a vegan or vegetarian, you might be B12 deficient. So you need to get your levels checked. B vitamin helps the body to produce energy and form red blood cells. Energy production, vitamin B1 is needed to convert the carbohydrate we eat into glucose. The following B vitamins are needed at a cellular level to convert glucose into energy. Vitamin B2, B3, B5, B6, biotin. A vitamin B deficiency is one of these vitamins can lead to decreased energy productions, lethargy, and fatigue. All right. So we're going to stop right there. That is the science for tonight, y'all. All right. That is the science for tonight. All right, we're going to come back and get more into the information. I don't have access to the line. Let me see right quick if I can see any questions. Right. Let me see if I can see y'all. Oh, word. Appreciate that. Tyongus. Thank you, brother Tyongus. Young Saint the Great. Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Much love for that, y'all. Word, word, word. All right. So yeah, you don't need sunglasses. Of course, sunglasses block the rays of the sun and help and keep the rays from entering into your mind's eye. You know what I'm saying? And activating the pineal gland. You said the sound is going? All right, all right. Peace, peace. Hopefully y'all can hear me now. Okay, now you can hear me? Okay, word. I was saying, yeah, thank you, brother Tyongus. Thank you, young Saint the Great. Those you know, peace, peace. Hopefully y'all can hear me now. Okay, now you can see me. Those super chats. All right, so we're gonna call it a night, y'all. We out. Peace. But like we do, before we go, continue now for days, weeks, and months and years to come. We're moving towards our most cherished goals of health, wealth, knowledge of ourselves. Every action, enterprise, and endeavor in which we wish to be involved is bringing increasing rewards. All right. We have better economic conditions and full contentment. Every action, enterprise, and endeavor in which we wish to be involved is bringing once again increasing rewards. We have so much success and abundance that we're able to share, help, and give to those who are sincere along the way. We're moving closer toward the oneness of God and Goddess and the full release of our higher inner selves. Peace, y'all. We love y'all. See y'all tomorrow.